Gonna make sure we all know how to say his name. The Greek Freak had a monster game on New Year's Eve against the Bulls. 35 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 blocks. I mean, how dangerous does the Greek Freak make the Bucks? Are we looking at a team with first-round upset potential here?
Absolutely, especially, we just talked about it off air, especially if Chris Middleton can make it back.
Right.
That is a team that nobody, East or West, wants to see. They play the Warriors tough. They play the Cavs tough. I love the Bucks.
Jabari Parker. I'm sorry. Greek Freak is definitely the best player on their team, but Jabari Parker.
The compliment is.
They complement each other great. Yeah. Jabari Parker's going to be a big reason why they win, but the Greek Freak, the sky's the limit for this kid. I love him. Well-rounded.
They get up to that number 6 slot, and all of a sudden we're talking about a very interesting
scary
series,
scary
right?
team.
Mm-hmm.
Scary
Could be
team.
pretty good. I don't know. All right, we're going to get on to make or miss here. Well, see, no, I already was starting.
We beat the buzzer.
With the buzzer. Come on. We are kicking off the new year right. Our 2003 NBA champ, Steven Jackson, our own king of all media and suits, NBA insider, Mina Hassan. And you are seeing Raptors video right now because, guys, I went across the street to see the Raptors play the Lakers last night. Did Kyle Lowry put on a show? 41 points, 20 of those came in the fourth quarter. This is such a fun team. Lowry continues to impress. DeMar DeRozan having a career season. And Toronto looks very solid in that number 2 spot in the Eastern Conference. The question you can't help but ask as you watch them, though, is what this franchise really wants and how might it get there? Because barring a major injury to Cleveland, it's still very hard to see the Raptors beating the Cavaliers to come out of the East, right? And hey, maybe that's okay. You are talking about a team that before last year's playoff run had won exactly 1 postseason series in 20 years. So if Toronto starts consistently making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's not exactly shabby for a franchise that for a long time was considered NBA purgatory. But sitting courtside as Lowry and DeRozan went fireball last night, it was hard not to want a little more for this group and get a little curious, especially as a news alert flashed on my phone. Our own Brian Windhorst and Mark Stein reporting that Atlanta has begun listening to trade offers for Paul Millsap, who, would just happen to fill the most glaring hole in the Raptors starting lineup. Imagine the Raptors pick and roll with Millsap. Imagine how Millsap would bolster Toronto's defense. Now, also imagine the price the Hawks might charge for Millsap. And let's not forget, Millsap is turning 32. He's in his administration, usually unwilling to part with a lot of assets in trade. But personally, I would urge them to throw caution to the wind here, push very hard to get a deal done. Having a backcourt this special doesn't happen that often. Having an ideal player come on the market, one who fits your roster's biggest need, doesn't happen that often. I understand that, especially in a place like Toronto, being a good team is definitely good. But there's something to be said for making the leap at the chance to be great. At least that's how I feel. What do you guys think? What about you, Stax?
Toronto's a great team. The backcourt is special. Millsap is not the guy. I think, to complement those guys, you need somebody more dominant, somebody that's one that can request double teams. Millsap is not requesting no double team. He ain't taking nobody off the dribble. He's a decent defender now. He's getting older. What is he doing in Atlanta to make Atlanta better?
You want someone else to take the ball out of those 2 other guys' hands?
Well, no, not really, but you're looking for somebody that you can drop it down to in the playoffs, especially a big man, a post guy, somebody that can post up. That's what they need. Millsap is not that guy.
See, I think he is that guy. I think he's
Is he that guy in Atlanta?
I mean, he's been for the last couple of years. Maybe not this year.
Played well last night.
But what have they won?
They went to the conference finals like 2 years ago.
We're talking about competing with Cleveland.
Sometimes.
No, I'm just saying, but yeah, we're talking about competing with Cleveland. But
that's the key, right? You're talking about competing with Cleveland. And look, no one's going one-on-one against LeBron, and it's going to be better. But you do look at that power forward spot and think they got to upgrade there if they want to compete with Cleveland.
Not only that, we're also you say, well, what has he done? Well, now he's joining his own kind of super team because he already got 2 All-Stars there with him in Toronto. If he went there, it's a different situation. To me, I say go for it because it reminds me a lot of him. Slow down. I'm not saying they're going to win a championship, but reminds me when Detroit got Rasheed Wallace 12 years ago, right? Detroit was solid, was a solid team, all-stars, but they weren't winning anything. Rasheed Wallace put them over the top. I'm not saying that he's Rasheed Wallace.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you're talking about This guy right here.
He needs
I'm saying when you have a team of all-stars,
over here.
a team of all-stars is good but not great, and then you add another all-star to it, that takes him to another level. It's not that Paul Millsap going to be like, yo, I got this. I'll take you to promised land. It's just that he's one extra piece that they needed. And I disagree. You throw it to him at the elbow, he can go around a Tristan Thompson. He can definitely go around a Kevin Love. He can step out and shoot the three. He can post up smaller guys. And then defensively, he can switch. He does a lot of things. I think, and definitely he's better than what they have right now at power forward.
No question. I agree with that.
I mean, they have bucket paper clips right now with all the injuries and everything they have now. They're throwing a bunch of guys together. I do want to ask you, though, philosophically, if you're the Raptors, you know you are going to be very good.
Right.
You know you will probably, or, if things go well for you, make it to the conference finals the way this is stacking up this year. In a conference where LeBron James exists, should you trade future assets to try to compete with him, or do you just wait it out forever?
Look, this is my thing. Wet spots and groin kicks is what gave LeBron his championship last year. You never know when that might happen to Cleveland.
See, you started that sentence, and I did not know how it was going to end.
Toronto must feel good at number 2 if they think about going after Millsap, because that's not going to get them to number 1.
You never know. You got to put yourself in a position. You got to you can't just say, well, it's not going to happen. Right. So you got to do whatever you can. You
don't know what's going to happen. On that note, let's get to someone who brought it into the new year. Right. James Harden had plenty of reasons to shimmy on Saturday night. He accounted for 95 of the Rockets' 129 points in their win over the Knicks. And I know you've seen the stat line already, but it's like church on Sunday. We're repeating it anyway. 53 points, 17 assists, 16 rebounds. And oh, by the way, Houston is one of 3 Western Conference teams with single digits in the loss column. So Stacks, talking about presumptive favorites versus teams making a move. Here's another conference. Here's another look at it. Does the Rockets, are they making you rethink this landscape in the West?
Well, the biggest thing about the Rockets is they're playing like a top 3 team in the Western Conference. I think, James Harden, what he's doing, nobody expected him to take that role on this point guard. And shout out to D'Antoni for except he's the only one that thought that. But the only thing is, Rachel, it looks good for the regular season.
Oh.
He's not going to be able to do that in the playoffs. The defense is going to change. They're going to take the ball in his hands. Other guys are going to have to win.
Right.
Regular season and playoffs is totally different. And I think now for the Rockets to be successful going forward, they need to start letting other guys learn how to make plays, because come playoff time, they're going to take it out of James' hands. I promise.
I agree 100% with that. The defenses are going to trap him a lot, and they're going to get the ball out of his hands.
But he is such a good passer.
He is a good passer, but if they're trapping you high and further away from the basket, it turns from one pass into a shot to one pass into someone else having to create something.
And denying him to get the ball back.
And denying him to get the ball back. That's absolutely right. But at the same time, like I said, man, you got to put yourself in a position, because you never know who's going to slip, who's going to kick somebody, who's going to get suspended. You want to be there. You don't want to say, well, since I'm not good enough to beat that team at full strength, then I might as well not try. And right now, Houston's doing a great job.
Do you think Harden's getting credit for as good a season as he's having, or do you think people are saying, oh, it's the system, it's D'Antoni?
If you're a hater, you're not giving him credit. That man doing all that work, he's balling out. He's probably tied with Russ for MVP right now in my mind.
If you think it's easy, then you go do it. Pretty much.
And by the way, Mike D'Antoni's coached a few teams recently. We have not seen anyone play like this in his
Shout out to Beard.
By the way, I just want to point out, a lot of times people, when they want to criticize the Rockets, they talk about their defense. They have been phenomenal defensively.
Defense is getting better.
Since Patrick Beverly came back. Yep.
And even
the young guy, number 5, I can't remember his name, from Louisville.
And even,
Montrezl Harrell.
Montrezl Harrell, he's playing well.
But I would say, even James Harden is not doing the I'm watching something walk by me anymore. I think you got to give him credit for that. I'm going to tee up 3 of our NBA players going through a bit of a rough patch heading into 2017 and ask Amin to suggest some New Year's resolutions. Now, as you know, your timelines, right, are flooded with all these stupid, these wonderful inspirational memes, right? I mean, come on, you've seen way too many of these on your timeline right now. Well, we have our own. Let's stay in Sacramento. Boogie did drop 26 points, had 8 assists on New Year's Eve, but he also earned his 10th tech of the season. And the Kings still lost the game. Afterward, Boogie expressed frustration with his teammates. Here was his quote. Like I've been saying, it's on us if we want to change this thing around. That's it. I'm tired of these blanking excuses. Blanking, maybe not what he said. Maybe he didn't say blanking. Anyway, I mean, what's your Boogie's?
He said fluffy.
He said
Fluffy. Fluffing excuse.
He said something. What? Wait a minute. I'm not even, okay. What should Boogie...
2017.
That's exactly what I was going to say. What should Boogie's New Year's resolution be?
We should just do away with this. This is the meme I came up with, Boogie. I said, Lord, protect me from my haters. And God replied, man, ain't nobody thinking about you. Look.
Wait, I'm sorry. Where did you see that inspirational meme? Lord,
I got
protect
it
me from my haters.
my inspirational stream that I get from Stack. Stack Instagram. What's that? Stack 5 Passe Instagram. Here's the thing. It's a bad situation, and it's not all Sacramento's fault, and it's not all DeMarcus Cousins' fault, but they're all bad together. Mm-hmm. This thing needs to end, and that's why I said, But
it's like my form of entertainment all NBA season, so don't take it away from me. What do you think?
I think he needs to really control his temper. That would be my New Year's.
From you? You're saying this.
Absolutely. What are you saying? Perception is not always reality, people. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I wasn't that guy. But no, for me, I think it starts with DeMarcus. I think if he can control himself, and again, with his with his comments, he said it starts with us. No, it starts with him. I think that team needs to have, he needs to put that team on his shoulders. He needs to be the team leader that they want him to be.
And I understand what he says, and no more excuses. Look, every excuse they have used has been recycled.
A lot of those inspirational memes.
Exactly. They've used every excuse they could probably use at this point. They have to go out there and win, and that's what it is. There's nothing else to say.
All right, well, let's move on to Rajon Rondo. He didn't play a single minute during Saturday night's loss to the Bucks, and then this morning, Coach Fred Hoiberg said that's not changing. Michael Carter-Williams will start at point guard tonight. Jerian Grant will play the backup minutes versus the Hornets. Rondo reportedly interested in a trade if this continues. So, Amit, what should his New Year's resolution / inspirational poster be?
First of all, I want to point out that I'm interested in winning Powerball if that's also available. But Rondo should be old ways will open new doors. Oh, knowledge dart.
Nice.
I like how he's pointing away from the door in this picture.
So Rondo, this is his fourth team, his fourth coach in 4 years. And every single last one has ended poorly. The best one that he ended was Boston, and even then they were kind of pushing him out the door. At some stage, he's got to realize, look, it ain't everybody else's fault. I have to blame in some of the things that are happening in my life.
I say his New Year's resolution to be work on that jump shot. I'm just telling you, if he works on that jump shot, then he has more chances to be on that floor. I mean, nobody can underestimate what he does as a point guard, his passing ability and what he can do. But I think if he has a consistent jump shot, he's into that rotation more often than not.
But Rondo is successful when he has a athletic big man. He doesn't have that. Right. Him and Cousins play way together.
Boogie, right? Work.
They play well together. Him and Garnett play well together.
I'm using one of the Stacks line. They play well together, him and Boogie, but they didn't win.
They didn't win, and that's the same thing in Chicago. He's not going to help them build winning team. I love Rondo. He's an old-fashioned point guard, one of those point guards that can get the team going and get everybody the ball. But as far as shooting and scoring, he's not that point guard. He's Chris Paul without the offense.
Exactly, and that's what he needs to be to be on that.
More of like the Lord's Prayer than a resolution.
To be on that,
he's still a starter. He's still a starter.
Yeah, exactly. To get on that court, that's what he needs to do.
All right, finally, we have Doc Rivers, who is hoping to snap the Clippers' 6-game losing streak tonight at home against the Suns. Now, on Friday night, his son Austin was ejected after appearing to make contact with official JT Orr. Doc, well, that's a lot of unprintable words. Doc then ejected for complaining about Austin's ejection. And I mean, I am frightened to ask you this, but what should their New Year's resolution be for the Rivers family?
I want to point out the original one that we're going to use. I felt bad, and I vetoed it.
You felt bad?
That's in the after
it was that
show.
bad.
That's on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. That's for the paywall. No, the one we came up with was inspiration hides in the strangest places, like free agency or draft or player development or any of the things that a GM is supposed to do when you run an organizational well.
They bolstered the bench this offseason.
Really? Is that bolstering?
Yes.
You think that's bolstering?
Look, you gotta
compared to last year, sure, but like compared to other NBA benches?
Yeah, you cannot say, first of all, that they are not improved in that area. And also, let's just be a little bit honest. You don't take Blake Griffin and Chris Paul off the floor. You can't expect this team to be what they are with those guys on the floor. You pay them for a reason.
They weren't really doing that well with both of them on the floor either, to be honest.
I mean,
what do you think?
I'm with you, man. Like they're not that hot.
It's really nothing different about that team. I mean, from the him getting thrown out. Obviously, you touch the ref like that, you getting thrown out. Anybody do that.
Right?
He was upset about missing the layup, but Austin,
I think so.
You should get thrown out every game.
He didn't really touch him, or he didn't mean to touch him.
He touched him. He was mad he missed a layup. He thought he got fouled. But you miss a lot of layups. You shouldn't get that mad. You miss them all the time. You know what I'm saying? The thing with Doc Rivers, I think he really was trying to figure out why his son got kicked out, and he got really emotional about it because he felt it wasn't fair why he got kicked out. Hey, your son really touched the referee. He deserved to. I got kicked out for less.
I think it was incidental. He swung his arm. The ref happened to be there. Again, you don't supposed to touch him. I think in the end, that should have been something. I think the ref went too far. I mean, at least after a whistle or something, come over and talk to him or whatever.
Right. I can see the Austin ejection, even if you didn't mean it, you can't do it. But the Doc ejection, again, falls into the you hurt my feelings, technical fact. Like,
helicopter dad.
Oh, come on.
Doc can only help. He can only hope for a healthy roster at this point and really find a lineup really that's conducive to Blake's talents.
Oh, you want them to make changes? That's a whole other segment.
I'm just saying. I mean, you watch the game when Blake is in there, the offense stalls a little bit because he goes to that 15-foot jump shot. They need an offense where they can move around a little bit. Like I said, it needs to be conducive to his athletic ability.
All right, fixing the Clippers roster will be our second after the Internet After Dark segment, because that could be another 2-hour show. All right, we want to thank T.O. for joining us today. You'll come back, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick break, but before we go, it is time for our distant replay from this date in 2009. 2009 is not that distant.
Nah.
All right, but still, take a look.
Is this a Vince Carter one again? Yeah, I knew it. I knew y'all were going to go with this one.
Oh, come on. That's too much fun.
Okay, foul Gasol. I told you.
Okay,
a 7-footer with a guard in that body. He wants to be a guard.
Who that, C.J. Miles? CJ Miles just ran out the picture.
Now you're going to tell me